Solved. See, bike mechanics, easy as that. It is a beautiful Friday morning in June, and Jimmy and I are riding to Paris. But first we're riding to the Lee Valley Velo Park, also known as the London 2012 Olympic Velodrome, for an event there hosted by DHB, so that should be interesting. I've never ridden a track before, so I'm looking forward to that. Note to self, next time put gravel wheels on. I'm not entirely sure, we're still on a towpath. Now the reason we're going to the Lee Valley Velo Park is that a couple of months ago, a good friend of mine, Kofi, who is a DHB ambassador, got in touch and said DHB were doing some kind of track taster session with a European champion, which turned out to be Ellie Dickinson. Now unfortunately in the last couple of days, because of mass train strikes in the UK, Ellie's not been able to make it today, but we're still going to head down and it should be a pretty decent day, because as I say, I've never been on a track before, so this could go horribly wrong. And I have to admit that doing a track event mere hours before riding 190 miles to Paris probably isn't the wisest decision I've ever made. But no good adventure ever started sitting on the sofa. So here we go.
A few moments later.
So the chain has sort of snapped. So we're now trying to find our way to the nearest bike shop.
Off you go then, Pete.
Yeah.
Keep going. There he goes. Going a long way to Paris. How do you go? I can't keep up. He's gone. Look at that leg strength.
Oh, that's a good start to the adventure. Oh well, these things happen. Right, yeah, so disaster has struck. My chain has snapped, and the bike shop that we just made our way to doesn't have any 11-speed chains in. So now we're having to jump on the train to go down to North London, or we're in North London, but we're going to go further down into North London to try and find a shop with a chain. It's all part of the adventure, but unfortunately it does mean that I've missed the track event at the Velo Park. It's gutting, but we're still on for Paris at this point. We've got about 6 hours to go until we need to leave for Paris, so that is still on. Fingers crossed we can make it there in time. So there is the offending article, and I am currently chainless at a train station. This is not what we were expecting on a London to Paris bike ride, but as Jimmy keeps saying, it's all part of the adventure.
That's fine, mate. We'll be chatting about this
Years to come. In Paris, we'll be sat down having a pint of nice, cold, strong continental lager, and hopefully laughing. I can't see it at the moment, but
Welcome to this service for London Liverpool Street.
bike shop number 2. When I say bike shop, it's a Halfords. But if they've got an 11-speed chain, I don't care. They will be my saviours. Harry Dakar, let's do it, let's go. Clark's self-lubricating, 11 speeds. Halfords have sorted me out. So, we're sorted. Halfords actually sorted me right out. We had a bit of a wait, but Halfords, Tottenham Hale, big thumbs up. So we are back on the towpaths, heading towards Stratford still. We have unfortunately completely missed the event. I did get a call earlier from one of the organisers saying if we can get there by 11:30, we can still do the last half an hour of the event. However, Google is currently saying we're going to be arriving at 11:43, so that's not going to happen. But we'll go show our face anyway, say hello, thank you, and then we'll head down to T Square for the big off. But in the meantime, we'll just enjoy these towpaths. I definitely need some gravel tyres. This is puncture central. I will be very surprised if I get through this without getting some kind of nick in the tyre. We've made it, and we're only an hour and 3/4 late. Better late than never. So I definitely got here too late, but I've met up with Yomi. And you're at show us your time? 250 metres, 19 seconds, storming time. So yeah, I missed it unfortunately, but Yomi managed to get it done. But we're going to come down again. We're going to get together and come back. Come back and have another session. But for now, with tears, Jimmy and I are going to head off Trafalgar Square. Let's get going. So there goes the Lee Valley Velo Park. Disappointing not to have been able to go round, but we've got a plan to come back en masse, and that'll be fun. But for now, we are heading to Trafalgar Square to start London to Paris. Got about 3.5 to 4 hours before we need to head off. Now we can take it easy before the big one. We've made it to the Thames. We are here. We made it. There it is, T Square. How you feeling?
I'm ready for this.
Next stop, well, next stop New Haven, but then after that maybe Paris. Raining just as we start, which is what you want, but there's still sun in the sky. It's still a bit bright, so hopefully it holds off and doesn't get much worse than this, because the ride out of London is not going to be fun if it stays like this. So the rain has well and truly left us behind, and it's now glorious. This is what it's all about, riding through Clapham Common in the sun. Woo! Oh, well, this is the first of 4 big climbs. This is painful. Oh, I think we're there. Woo! I've got a feeling we might be in Surrey. That was a burner, but I'm hoping we get a decent descent the other side to make that worth it. I think we're 20 miles down, 40 to go to New Haven, and that was a toughie. Are we still having fun?
Look at it. How can you not? That wasn't too bad.
We were just saying, the roads out of London, we were hoping to do about 15 mile an hour on average, but just start-stop out of London, which is why it's taken us the best part of 3 hours to do 30 miles. But the next 30 miles, hopefully, should be pretty quick. But I am now ready for a pint.
Yeah, we've done this before.
So we are fed, we're watered, and we're just trying to work out our strategy for getting down to Newhaven. So we've got 3 hours, we've got just over 3 hours to get to Newhaven now, and that's an average speed at just over 11 miles an hour. To get to here, we were averaging 11.1 miles an hour, but there was loads of start-stopping at traffic lights coming out of London, so I'm hoping that we should be able to pick up a bit more speed, and we should get there well before 10 o'clock. Fingers crossed. Let's do it. So we're now out in West Sussex, and I'm going to be honest, the first few miles after that sit down, the legs were feeling stiff. We've had 3 of our 4 big climbs now, 1 more climb to go, and then it's basically all downhill to Newhaven. The legs are feeling good now, they've warmed up a bit. Oh, except I'm going uphill and I'm in the wrong gear. But the legs have warmed up, we're feeling good, and we've got about 20 miles left to Newhaven. So hopefully we'll be there in about an hour and a half, hopefully. Who chose this route? Oops. I'm not entirely convinced that this track is made for road bikes. We're 3.5 miles out from Newhaven, and we found another towpath, and we've just hit sunset. So we're now riding with lights on. We're ready for the ferry now. Although the last few miles I've actually quite enjoyed. There's been a few ups and downs, but actually it's been quite enjoyable. And I have to say, apart from a few minor bumps in the road, and there was one point where we were coming down a descent at about 30 and the road surface basically disintegrated and I nearly came off. But otherwise, I've been really impressed with the roads and the route that Komoot has taken us down. But now let's get to the ferry port, get the bikes on Dave's van, and get onto that ferry for a nice warm shower.
Perfect.
Ooh. I think we made good time there. So what time did we leave? It was about 7:30 we left, right?
Yeah, it's 9:30.
Oh, 15 mile an hour.
Yeah. How did you find some of those little cheeky hills, Pete? Because I thought there were some little naughty ones.
So after we left you,
Yeah.
there were supposed to be 2 climbs registered on Garmin, but actually there was at least 3 or 4.
I'm gonna fall out with your Garmin, I think.
There was so
Because it keeps telling me there's 2 hills,
and then
and
it's going to be downhill.
you very proudly announce this is the very last.
This is the last one,
and
it's going to be downhill.
My legs definitely feel more hills. Is it a psychological thing where you try and tell me it's the last hill and yeah, are you playing?
That's what I'm doing. I'm
is
playing
it mind games?
I'm playing mind games with you.
Right.
That's what it is.
Okay, we'll end it on that. Mind games.
On that,
Yeah.
mind games. Now we put the bikes in your living room. Dave has just asked a very pertinent question. What was the question, Dave?
I said to Jimmy, how much is this bike?
So his is about $1,000 or maybe about 1,100. Mine's 1,200. And
They
what was,
haven't got kickstands.
well, that's why we brought you.
Sound
You can probably barely see me here, but we're in Dave's van. So we've finally got the bikes in.
Yeah,
Don't think you can see them, but yeah, the bikes are in. So yeah, we're just queuing up now to get on the ferry, and as soon as we're on, it's time to relax for 5-6 hours until we dock in Dieppe at 5 AM French time. Need this rest.
And then once you've got everything out, you refurb it again, kit it all out again, did you?
We've made it onto the ferry, and these LED lights are not very good for video, but there's a bit of a situation in so much as there are no showers. Looking at them, I think they've turned them off for COVID reasons and they've just never turned them back on again. So I did get changed, put a t-shirt on, put a pair of shorts on just to be a bit more comfortable, and we're just having a quick drink and a bite to eat, and then I think we'll be getting the yoga mats and the sleeping bags out, trying to get some much needed rest. We've got about 4.5 hours currently until we dock, so if we can try and get at least 3 hours of sleep, that'd be something. You alright, Jimmy? Right, night night, sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams.
I can't see this being the most comfortable night's sleep I've ever had, but needs must, so see you in the morning. Well, we're up. It's about 4:30 AM and I wouldn't say I got what you would call sleep in the traditional sense, and it is looking miserable outside as well. Let's kind of have a quick look. It's actually not too cold.
Really?
It's alright. So it's actually,
It's really humid.
Yeah, I came out earlier and it was absolutely lashing down. But now we've got here, I'd say this is probably about 16, 17 degrees and quite warm. So yeah, I'm impressed with this. Not displeased with this at all. That's woken me up a bit. That's pleased me. Vive la France! We are in France. We are en route. We are shattered, but spirits are high, energy's high now, and yeah, next stop in about 14 miles where we meet up with Dave, and yeah, looking forward to it. We have found the Avenue Verte, so we've got about 40 miles of this. Really looking forward to this because this is nice, smooth, level asphalt, and yeah, we're going to watch the sunrise over this, so yeah, very, very nice. Looking forward to it. We are on the Avenue Verte. Garmin tells me that we now have 98 miles left to go. So we've done 115 since yesterday morning, since leaving home, and we've now broken the 100. So we're in double digits. We're still on the Avenue Verte. We've still got a good 20 miles or so of this, I reckon. Could do with being a tiny bit warmer, but at least the rain has held off and the sun is trying to come out. So hopefully the cloud will burn off at some point and we'll get some nicer weather. But otherwise, Jimmy and I,
we're loving it. We are loving it. Look at it.
Having a cracking time.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that place. That's lovely, isn't it? And this is what's stunning about France, just happening upon places like this. It will be mine. One day it will be mine. I can only dream. Right, back on the Avenue Verte. Bonjour!
Where are we?
Les tables de gare.
Le Creperie.
In what ville? Which town?
Oh, Neufchâtel-en-Bray.
Cambrai.
We've come to Bray. We're having a lovely time.
These idiots. They're going to try and order food later. It's going to be brilliant.
I've had my first casualty, and we have a flat tyre. Right, let's get it changed. And this is why you always check the inside of your tyre before you put the tube back in. Look at that. Right, well, having nearly broken my thumbs and nearly breaking Jimmy's fingers as well, Jimmy managed to get the rubber back on the rim. I've used Jimmy's little rocket pump, which is pretty good, but I've got my full-size track pump in Dave's van. So yeah, I'll give it a proper pump up with the gauge when we get there. But for now, we are back on a bit of a climb, actually.
It looks a climb,
We've got a bit of a climb coming up, which I did not remember from last time I was here. We have arrived, excuse me, eating some baguette. We've arrived at Le Houssouy and we've met up with Dave again. I've had some lovely baguette and I've discovered a problem with my bike on the way here, in that the cassette is getting jammed up. And so as I'm freewheeling, it's not turning fully and the chain is bouncing on the chainstay. Now that in itself isn't a massive issue. The bigger issue from that is that when I pointed that out to Jimmy as we were descending, he had a look and then decided to have a wobble and ride into the curb.
It wouldn't be a fair good trip without a bit of road rash.
So yeah, so now he's got some road rash on his leg and I'm feeling terribly guilty. But anyway, we've got 48 miles to go. The rain has started again and it is now showing 90 to 100% chance of rain the whole way down into Paris. So that should be fun. And I didn't bring any waterproofs. So let's see how this goes. Jimmy has got his waterproofs on. I didn't pack any because I'm ever the optimist. I was hoping that it would be nice and sunny. It wasn't to be. But we've got about 37, 38 miles left until Paris. We are running a little bit behind now, so we're going to have to get a bit of a push on to make it within the 24 hours, which we'd really like to. I think we might just about scrape it. However, because of that, there's probably going to be very few update videos until we get to Paris. You may see a couple of videos from Dave as he stops along the way and gets some shots of us coming by, but as for me taking videos of the two of us, I think they're going to be scant. I guess we'll see you in Paris. So this is part of the official London to Paris route, but it looks like just some kind of forgotten back alley. Ridiculous. I've been scratched by brambles, stung by nettles, but again, all part of the adventure, so we move.
Last stop.
24 miles to go, and I'm feeling it now. I've just had to pop a couple of ibuprofen because it's starting to ache now. But we've done in total 190 miles, and I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to a shower, is what I'm looking forward to. Missed out on the ferry, but yeah, looking forward to a shower, a nice steak, and a cold, strong continental lager.
How's your leg?
Leg's all right.
Done.
Yeah, the leg's fine. It's a mere road rash. I'm actually liking it. I'm actually feeling quite like
It's a war wound.
Yeah.
Like
Straight
you've
up, like,
achieved something.
you know, like the Tour de France riders, and a few stragglers lay on the floor in agony.
yeah. Well, they got back
Alberto
up.
Contador gets up and goes.
Put me back on my bike.
Yeah.
My bar taper's
Where's that gone?
given up. It's all bunched up round here. That's where I've been gripping on. The other side's going. So I've basically abused this bike. But considering I built this with my own fair hands from budget Chinese carbon fibre, mailed to me in the post bit by bit, I think it's lasted pretty well.
Come on.
We've made it to the cobbles at the Champs-Elysees. We're here. Hell, here we go.
Are we there?
We're there, we're there. Oh, mate. We did it. We've made it to Blackpool Tower. Wow, what a ride. And honestly, that's why I'm now back home doing the last part of this video rather than doing it on the go while I was in Paris. I was hoping that once we'd got to Paris and we're making our way to the hotel where we were going to be staying for the night, that I'd be able to do a few more bits to camera just to talk about the whole process and what I'd learned and, you know, how it all felt. But man, I got to the end of it, met my wife, and as soon as the cameras went off, it was quite emotional, if I'm honest. We'd been on the road for well over 24 hours, moving time of 17 hours, doing 217 miles. And when we got back to the hotel, it was a hard slog. It was about 4 miles back to the hotel. And when we got back there, yeah, it hit me. And I wasn't really in any sort of shape or mood to do any kind of talking piece to camera. So now I'm home. But I thought there's still stuff that needs to be spoken about, and there's still stuff that I think anyone watching this video might find interesting if they're looking to do the ride themselves at any time. But before I go into what I learned, there's one very, very important thing about this trip that I actually didn't make mention of while I was doing it, which was really remiss of me because it was part of the trip that made it all possible, and there's no way that Jimmy and I could have done what we did as easily as we did, I guess, without the help of my good friend Dave. Now, you saw Dave a few times on camera along the way as we were going through France, but I realised that I never explained who he was or what he was doing there. So very quickly, I just wanted to firstly say a massive thanks to Dave, and also just to explain his part. Now, Dave is a travel photographer, and he quite literally travels from country to country in his van, capturing amazing scenery. So knowing what a great photographer and videographer he is, and knowing that I wanted to document this ride, I thought what better person to ask along than Dave. So big thanks to him, as well as providing support along the way and just making sure we were okay. He kept us fed and watered with all manner of items, and honestly, we couldn't have done it as easily as we did without him. He was an absolute lifesaver at times. And along the route, Jimmy and I were regularly saying, okay, we've got another 5 miles, another 6 miles to Dave. And it was that how many miles to Dave comment that really got us through, knowing that we were only another half an hour before we'd get to the next stop and Dave would be there to replenish us. So the first tip that I'll give you is if you're able to do it with a friend who can support you, not necessarily anyone that lives the van life, if you can just get someone that's going to drive along with you and meet you every 10, 15, 20 miles or so, which is what we did, that is an absolutely huge help. So Dave, big thanks, man. I love you. So the next big thing is to make sure you plan a good route. Now, I used an app called Komoot to plan my route, and I went through it meticulously, but clearly not meticulously enough, because there were some parts where I knew would be on gravelly towpaths and it might be a little bit uneven, but there were other parts that I thought would be absolutely perfect for road bikes, but it just wasn't the case. The ground was uneven, and how we managed to get through the entire ride with only me getting one puncture is anyone's guess. I've no idea how we managed that. And so there's actually a phrase in the military that goes, proper preparation and planning prevents piss poor performance. It's known as the 6 Ps. And if you get all of that in place, then you should have a fairly smooth ride. Now, again, I thought I'd done as much as I could to plan the route as best as possible. These things are always going to happen. And actually, as you saw towards the end of the ride, as we were getting close to Paris, even the official route for London to Paris was like a gravelly back alley that had just been forgotten about. So there's always going to be these things to overcome. But definitely planning a proper route before you go is a massive help. So the next big thing is nutrition and hydration. Now, I took along with me some Velo Forte energy chews and some SIS hydration tablets to put in my water bottle, and they were a massive help. But actually, stopping along the way and being given croissants, pain au chocolat, baguettes, and all manner of cakes and drinks from Dave was an even bigger thing. And that is so, so important, just getting that nutrition level right, because the last thing you want is to burn out when you're halfway through the middle of France and you suddenly find you bonk, you hit the wall, and your legs just give up on you. So make sure you have a plan in place for drinking enough, for eating enough, and at regular intervals. And this last one is more of a personal thing, which you may have picked up on in the video. Make sure you get yourself a decent chain. Now, the chain that I had that broke was a KMC chain. As far as I'm aware, it was a genuine KMC chain, but who knows? It did snap, and looking back in hindsight, what would have helped me was to have some master links for the chain so that I wouldn't have had to make my way to a bike shop to try and find a completely new one. Again, that's a lesson that I've learned the hard way. Hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and keep some master links with you. And actually the Clark's chain that I got from Halfords, big thumbs up to Halfords for their help as well, I now keep a couple of master links in my saddlebag should it ever happen again. Fingers crossed it won't, but you never know. So let's wrap this video up here now. This is the second time I've done the London to Paris, and will it be the last? Probably not, because it is an absolutely incredible ride, and I highly recommend you give it a go yourself. There are so many things that get in our way in our day-to-day lives these days that it's such an amazing adventure to be able to get out in the middle of nowhere, away from your phone, away from the desk, away from your computer, and just completely forget about anything else but spinning your legs and that expansive road ahead of you. And I urge anyone, everyone, just get out there and do it yourself. As for me, who knows what the future holds, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of adventures around the corner. So watch this space, and I'll see you in the next video.